Someone told me that photography is effect and illustration is emotion.
Prior to the invasion was that I worked with the topics of human rights, equality, feminism, history, trauma, and stuff like that. So I guess nothing new for me.
I used to draw, let's say, funny, cheerful illustrations with a lot of characters, children books. So yeah, it feels very, very, very strange and different to draw something like bombs and tanks and so on.
Not just from 2014, but years and centuries before, the history between Russia and Ukraine never were easy.
Yeah, and it was never calm and peaceful, actually.
Yes.
It was always some kind of battle.
Ukrainian people was killed by Lenin, they were killed by Stalin. So it's really nothing super new here.
Russia as a state has always been imperialist towards Ukraine and other smaller countries.
I feel like Putin thinking of him like a new, I don't know, new messiah of the Russia or something like that. And just if you think that we want to help Ukraine because we don't want the World War III to begin, it's begun.
We evacuated on the second week of the war from Kyiv because of my mother's health issue and our general fear of bombing. Because the first week of the war we spent in a bomb shelter like daily. We went away to eat, but we spent all the night and big part of the day there, and it was hard.
The first week of the war I spent in a car with my husband, with my parents, with my brother in the other car, with my other part of the family somewhere on the road. So we were moving from one location to other location because it was hard to find a place and all the road was very crowded. And then I managed to evacuate my parents to the Germany. So that took some time. And in that position, I was not able to really draw something. I was able to sketch only.
But life in Kyiv is it doesn't look like what it used to be, but it's pretty
So we just get up and work, maybe go somewhere. Here we have from 1 to 3 sirens, air raids during the day and night. It's getting, I don't think we're getting used to it, but
it's okay.
At the beginning of February, at the beginning of February, I drew the image of Kyiv, the other one, of the peaceful Kyiv. So the woman was walking with her child, the guy was drinking coffee, and so on and so on. I tried to feature characters of our community. So then, after the war started, in late February or early March, I decided to redraw that image and keeping all the characters to draw the new reality. So that's the other one. So in this image, you can see that the normal guy is now a soldier, and the dog is soldier dog too. And just the Kyiv citizens, Kyiv community is trying to help army doing volunteer work and doing Molotov cocktails to protect themselves, because this is one of the suggestions by our government and so on, so that people can do Molotov cocktail to fight back Russians on the street. So it's nothing, you don't need like gun for that. You can draw these cocktails on the tanks.
Luckily, the Ukrainian army managed to stop Russian troops before they surrendered, before they surrounded and occupied Kyiv. So in terms of just basic everyday things, everything is pretty much the same for me, except for we have air raid alerts now, and we could very distinctly hear the sounds of fighting for the first month and a half.
I can talk like for myself only, and before the war I was very peaceful person. I was against all the militarization and against all the military talk, because I thought that in 21st century we don't need to even talk about weapon, talk about it's not okay for kids to play with weapon and everything else. And I guess in Europe this kind of mindset is pretty common, and because of that, for many people it's hard to understand why, for example, Ukraine need weapons now, because giving weapons is bad thing, and like in the most in the most situation I will think yes, give somebody a weapon is not a good thing. But for now, when Ukraine cries for like give us weapons to defend us from Russia, it is not about it is about militarization, but it is about needs of the time, because for now there is no other choice than fight.
I found it hard for myself to draw the this imagery of this epic imagery of war, like the fumes, the darkness, the fire, because my personal sensual experience of this war is more of audio one, because I actually haven't seen a ruined building yet, only on the news. So I don't really think it's fair that I draw something that I haven't seen personally. And but what I can talk about is what I experienced myself. So I think this private things, intimate things are just as important and just as relatable for a lot of people, like the imagery of the war itself, of the physical war.
This one is, both of them is mine, and they're from the first week of the war, so it's ancient history now. And the right one is about IT army, because we have quite powerful IT segment here in Ukraine, and when we are talking like fight, we're not talking just about weapons and people who shoot. It's about like it's about everything from doing like app for air raid sirens to doing DOS attacks on military sites of Russia. All of this is IT army.
Was homage to Harry Potter character Neville Longbottom. His python is this two-headed eagle that the Russians has as a symbol. It was there was this days when they started to make the statements, say that they are going to save Ukrainians from nationalistic troops, but of course it's not true.
I think illustrators are their role is very similar to the journalist role. Not everyone can grab a gun and go to the front, right? So everyone should find their place in this war and in this situation. And I think if it's something that you do well, it's just good for your own mentality, and at the very end is good for society too.
I want to say that it's very, very interesting how now we have very much mixed emotions about everything, because I don't know, you probably not see all of it, but in Ukraine we have so many memes about what's going on in war, so many jokes about it, so many changed images, and many some I don't know, cheerful images of the dancing soldiers who are dancing in front of the night vision camera. So and on the other hand, we have this horror and death and I don't know, and shelling and bombs and explosions, and it's mixed in such way. So yeah, maybe well, when you look at my image of the Kyiv, the revised image of the Kyiv, you can see that the characters are funny, really, but they are funny because people who are doing Molotov cocktails, they're doing it and making jokes, and they're laughing, even though they are doing them in the basement of the building while shelling, because maybe the humor is the way to cope with all this situation.